Hey guys, welcome to our YouTube channel. In this video, I will be talking about some of the worst plagues in the history of mankind. Hope you like the video. On number 6, we have Asian flu of 1957, which is an outbreak of influenza that was first identified in February 1957 in East Asia and later on it spread worldwide. The 1957 Asian flu was the second major influenza pandemic to occur in the 20th century. The Asian flu outbreak caused an estimated of 1 million to 2 million deaths worldwide, and it is generally considered to have been the least severe of the three influenza pandemics of the 20th century. Researchers have indicated that this virus was originating from the strains of avian influenza and human influenza viruses. In the first months of the 1957 Asian flu pandemic, the virus spread throughout China and surrounding regions. By midsummer, it had reached the United States. Several months later, however, numerous cases of infection were reported, especially in young children, the elderly, and pregnant women. By December, a total sum of 3,550 deaths had been reported in England and Wales, and by March 1958, an estimated of 69,800 deaths had occurred in the United States. Similarly to the 1968 Hong Kong flu, the Asian flu has associated with the course of illness, whereas some infected individuals experience only minor symptoms such as cough and mild fever. On number 5, we have the Antonine Plague of 165 to 180 AD, also known as the Plague of Galen, was an ancient pandemic brought back to the Roman Empire by the troops returning from the campaign in the Near East. Scholars have suspected it to have been either smallpox or measles, but the true cause remains undetermined. The disease broke out again 9 years later, causing up to 2,000 deaths a day in Rome, one quarter of those who were affected giving the disease a mortality rate of about 25%. The total deaths have been estimated at 5 million, and the disease killed as much as one third of the population in some areas and devastated the Roman army. On number 4, we have the Plague of Justinian, which was a pandemic that affected the Eastern Roman Empire and especially its capital, as well as Sasanian Empire and the port cities around the entire Mediterranean Sea, as merchant ships harbored rats that carried fleas infected with plague. Some historians believe that the Plague of Justinian was one of the deadliest pandemics in history, resulting in the death of estimate 25 to 50 million people during 2 centuries of reoccurrence, a death toll equivalent to 13 to 26% of the world population at the time of the first outbreak. In 2013, researchers confirmed earlier speculation that the cause of the Plague of Justinian was Yersinia pestis. On number 3, we have the 1918 influenza pandemic, also known as the swine flu. It was an usually deadly influenza pandemic, four of the first of the two pandemics involving H1N1 influenza virus, with the second being the swine flu in 2009. It is infected 500 million people around the world, or about 27% of the then population of about 1.8 billion, including people of remote Pacific islands in the Arctic. The death toll is estimated to have been 50 million and possibly as high as 100 million, making it one of the deadliest epidemics in human history. On number 2, we have the Black Death. It was one of the most devastating pandemics in human history, resulting in the death of an estimated 75 to 200 million people in Eurasia, peaking in Europe from 1347 to 1351. The bacterium Yersinia pestis, which resulted in several forms of plague, is believed to have been the cause of the Black Death. The Black Death was the first major European outbreak of plague and the second plague pandemic. The Black Death is thought to have originated in the dry plains of Central Asia or East Asia, where it traveled along the Silk Road. It was most likely carried by fleas living on the black rats that traveled on all merchant ships, spreading throughout the Mediterranean basin and Europe. The Black Death is estimated to have killed 30 to 60% of Europe population. In total, the plague may have been reduced the population from an estimated 475 million to 350 million in the 14th century. On number 1, we have HIV or AIDS, which is a spectrum of condition caused by infection with the human immunodeficiency virus. Following initial infection, a person may not notice any symptom or may experience a brief period of influenza-like illness. Typically, this is followed by a prolonged period with no symptoms. As the infection progresses, it interferes more with the immune system, increasing the risk of developing common infections such as tuberculosis as well as other opportunities, infections, and tumors which are otherwise rare in people who have normal immune function. These late symptoms of infection are referred to as acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. This stage is often associated with weight loss. HIV is spread primarily by unprotected sex, contaminated blood transfusion, hypodermic needles, and from mother to child during pregnancy, delivery, or breastfeeding. There is no cure or vaccine. However, treatment can slow the course of disease and may lead to a normal life. Without treatment, the average survival time after infection is 11 years. In 2018, about 37.9 million people were living with HIV, and it resulted in many deaths. An estimated 20.6 million of these live in Eastern and Southern Africa. HIV originated in West Central Africa during the late 19th century or early 20th century. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.